Dr.
and the
Tondyal,
judiciary's role also.
Dr. Hauke, as a cookie, as someone who's advised cookie groups in the past, are the cookies really caught in this, in these various complex issues at the moment? It's their land which is often being used for poppy cultivation, where there are encroachments taking place. The old cookie militant groups have apparently resurfaced. Are ordinary citizens caught in the crossfire? I'm told your family members are safe, but a number of people around you in Churachandpur particularly have now sought refuge in different parts of the country.
Rajdeep, thank you for having me. Let me start by saying how there is a building of certain narrative which is going on. The narrative is that they demonize a certain community, particularly the cookie community. It's going on and on for the last 2-3 years. But we have been, the cookie communities, particularly the civil society organizations, the leaders, have been cooperative to the government, for instance, in terms of poppy cultivation. We never discuss about why these people are cultivating poppy. And for instance, there's no proper roads in the hills, there's no sanitation, there's no medical facilities, no schools.
So is the anger the fact that the cookies feel their areas have not got the same benefits that Imphal Valley has? Is that where it starts off? A sense of alienation, of anxiety? Is that what it is?
Look into how the funds are spent in Manipur. You will find that 70% of the funds from Delhi, which we get it as a grants, is spent, only, dedicatedly on the valley areas. Look into the institutions, universities, colleges, hospitals. All these institutions are located in Imphal. Then when there is a complaint that why these institutions are not located in the hills, there is no answer. People got angry. Why do you question that? These are the kind of...
So you're saying these simmering issues have existed, and then they get triggered by the fact that Meiteis are now going to get ST status. Am I correct? And then various other groups, including armed insurgents, start playing a role. Beena Lakshmi says it was engineered.
I think this, looking into the nature of how things are unfolding, the riot, how it started appears to be a kind of political machination, from the, top to bottom. So we have to look into this, not only...
Politics of divide and rule.
No, a kind of how this has been engineered. I would blame another, another political, angle, but, this has been engineered for long.
Okay, so, you're hitting an important point. This is the problem, Beena Lakshmi. The fact is the Northeast is complex. There are no easy solutions. There are ethnic fault lines that have existed for years. A few years ago, it was Nagas versus Cookies. Now we are finding Meiteis versus Cookies. I mean, what is the way forward? Can all these groups sit across a dialogue table as one hopes, as Rajat Sethi suggested, and resolve it?
Absolutely, Rajdeep. That's why in 2010, we started the Northeast India Women Initiative for Peace, because our men are busy picking up arms and fighting with each other, and in the process, women and children. I started the Manipur Women Gun Survivors Network to help thousands of women, 20,000 women, who belong to the Kuki, Naga, Meitei, Manipuri Muslims, whose husbands, whose brothers, whose fathers have been killed in the 7 decades of conflict, which has been a part of our region, which is still under a martial law, Rajdeep. So we, the women, across Manipur, during this past days, we have been in constant communication, helping each other across ethnic divides to tell our men that you cannot keep fighting like this. It is only us who continue, the women and children. Right now, 20,000 people are now in hostage-like situation, which in Torbung and other parts where even the Indian Army can't reach. We have to ensure right now proper relief and rehabilitation, get the hostages which are now trapped in many of the communal sensitive areas, ensure that the government of Manipur and the government of India stop this violent extremism. We know election is 2021. Our Cookie brother said
you're linking it. I'm going to stop you for a moment. You're linking it to the elections. You have to go because we have another guest joining us in a moment. But Rajat Sethi, the politics that has been played, I come back to it. Why couldn't the Chief Minister have called for a dialogue between these groups and sat them across a table?
Well, this is where I fail to understand. It's one thing to, it's an easy target to constantly blame the politician because they are the easiest punching bags here. But let me tell you, initial triggers of violence has been going on in Churachandpur for the past 1.5 to 2 months. Various groups, be it the Meiteis, the Valtes, and all of these small groups within the larger Kuki Zo community had been in discussion under various ages along with the chief minister and the state government. Their concerns were towards threefold. First thing was around surveys of the forest. There were concerns that reserved forests are being occupied by the villagers in the hills, and that needs to be cleared through the survey process. There was opposition, a violent opposition to that. So there was these build-up happening, and then the constant buffer mechanism was being kicked in, and it started playing its role. But then, you see then an external trigger happens,
right,
because of this judgment came in, and then ARTSOM, which is the all-tribal student union of Manipur, all the tribes, the Nagas and the Kukis got together and organized a huge protest. When you organize a very big protest, and even one stray incident in a tinderbox situation like that of Manipur can really blow up the situation really fast.
Okay.
And I think what happened was that in the last 2 or 3 days, in the run-up to that ARTSOM, some intelligence could have been pulled in that ARTSOM is organizing such a large event, and there is a possibility of something wrong happening.
Okay.
Perhaps that's a couple of signals were missed, and the whole state burned because of that. But let me tell you again, post that, the Home Minister and as far as I know, I've been in touch with various government officials. He has been on phone call every 2 hours. I mean, of course, he's not going to announce it to the media every time he gets onto a call,
right,
but everybody has been hands-on when it came to this violence, because everybody knows there has been Naga Kuki genocide in the 90s, which resulted in a similar flare-up. So you know exactly that Manipur is in that classic case of a very, very unstable equilibrium.
You use the word tinderbox. You use the word tinderbox, and many will believe Manipur remains on a tinderbox that can explode at any time. We can only hope that some of those flames that are now slowly being doused are now met with a sustained dialogue. I have to end here. Yes, one very last point. Yes, sir.
Yeah, these riots doesn't happen at this scale, often, and we have to be careful. There has to be a kind of impartial inquiry how it started.
You all want an impartial inquiry as to who is responsible for it.
There has to be accountability at the top, and some political solution has to be there. There are demands. There has been going on, for instance, the 6th schedule extension in the hill areas. It has been going on for 45 years, and this has been opposed in the valley. Why are you unwilling to share power?